Hey guys, it's Derek the Arab Dragon from Red Dragon Airsoft. Got another chrono here today, and this one's been very anticipated. This is of the new version of Desert Eagle, made by KWC and licensed by Cybergun. So you have full licenses, Israeli licenses on the side here. It makes it look very, very nice. On top of that, I'll tell you something else about it. This is the only Desert Eagle out on the market that's actually metal, the only one. As you can hear, definitely metal, and it's pretty dang heavy. It gives you a lot of recoil when you're shooting it. But the best thing about this new model that they just released, this is just a new release right now, the best thing about the new model is that the magazine looks like this. It's no longer the extended magazine, and the CO2 kind of pops in the side instead of the bottom. So that makes it so it can be a little bit shorter, and as you can see, it fits flush with the gun. Now it doesn't make it look kind of ridiculous with that extended mag, make it look a little bit dumb. But let's go ahead and cock it and see what this thing's shooting at. Alright, so feet per second. We're also, and obviously we're using 12 gram CO2 cartridges and 0.20 gram BBs. 323. 323. 306. 311. 311. Okay, so my chrono being a piece of crap aside, it seems to be getting a good average around 310, 320 feet per second. So it is safe to say it's not shooting at the 400 feet per second that Cybergun is wanting to say it's shooting at. It's definitely not shooting at that hot of a velocity, but it is shooting around 310, 320 feet per second. And for a gas gun, especially one using CO2, that's overall a pretty dang respectable feet per second. You really don't need anything more for your sidearm. Alright, so I've refilled the magazine, still the same CO2 cartridge after a full magazine. And a lot of people don't know, but this one also, I don't know if I forgot to mention this one also shoots fully automatic. Yeah, that's right. A gas blowback, fully automatic Desert Eagle. It runs off CO2. What more could you ask for? I gotta say though, it has so much recoil, it's really uncontrollable, so it's gonna be really hard to get a reading on this without actually hitting the chrono. But let's try to get rounds per minute reading on the second magazine of CO2. Keep in mind, again, second magazine of CO2 might be a little bit higher on the first one. .882. Alright, so I've changed my mind. I went inside and put a new CO2 cartridge in there just because I want to see the absolute max rate of fire you can get out of this gun. I don't want it to be, you know, starting to be on the cooldown. I don't want it to be any of that. So this is the max rate of fire you're going to be able to get on it. Maybe it might be a little bit more when it's warmer, but it's about 60 degrees outside, and for CO2 it doesn't affect it as much. I mean, there's not as much of a cooldown factor. But there'll be a very slight increase if it's like 90 degrees. But overall, for me in Portland, it feels pretty good today. Maybe not for gas guns, but CO2, not a big deal. Back on topic with the rate of fire, so rounds per minute. Oh, definitely faster. .882. 882. Okay, so my chrono today is really not wanting to cooperate. When it actually reads it, it's reading it accurately, but when it's not reading it, it just refuses to read it. So, to my chrono, I do say this. Piece of crap. But, although I did get a few accurate readings out of it. So, this one does seem to be shooting around 310, 320 feet per second, and rate of fire-wise, this is full auto, let me hold this down. Seems to be shooting around 900 rounds a minute. That's a lot of recoil. That's really fast for a slide that big. This isn't a small pistol, if you can't tell. So, full metal, may I remind you. This thing is pretty dang ridiculous. 310, 320 feet per second, 900 rounds a minute. Alright, so it's time to shoot a can. We're about 10 feet away. So, first, let's go semi-automatic. Whew. Definitely shooting closer to 320, 330 than it is 310. So the first few shots of the brand new CO2 cartridge is going to be shooting quite a bit hotter than the later shots in the magazine, as you can see by this. But let's go full auto. Keep in mind, if I miss, it's because this thing has so much recoil, you really can't control it. It's really the same story as with the HSE OSP, it's just so much recoil on full auto. And we're out of BBs. Alright, so here's what's happened to the can. On semi-automatic, it whizzed right through. The BBs just went right through it, did not stop. That's more along the powers showing of like 380 along the first few shots. Since my chrono was kind of messing up, the first few shots really didn't count. So you can say that it's going to slow down later in the magazine. The first few shots are going to be quite a bit hotter though than the later shots in the mag. So it will average around 320 feet per second, but keep in mind, first shot's going to be pretty hot. You can tell by the magazine. It shredded up pretty good. You can see the exit wounds, BB's just right on through it. A few of them later in the mag, as you can see, they kind of hit it and stopped, especially when we went on full auto. So in full auto, again, first shot you'll probably notice hit like the bottom of the can, next one hit way up here. It's because it has quite a bit of recoil. But for a pistol, this is actually pretty dang good. This is only 20 rounds through one pistol, and the can is pretty dang shredded. Alright, so as you guys just saw, this thing is pretty impressive. Pretty dang impressive. And the fact that the magazine is not this long anymore is a giant advantage. It's a giant pro for me. I did not like how the magazine was an extended mag before. I believe those magazines will still work, but they'll be sticking out of the gun. I'm not sure, so don't quote me on that, whether the mags work or not. But back on topic, this thing's shooting, averaging around about 320 feet per second. First few shots are definitely going to be up 350, 380 range. You can just tell by the way you're shooting the can, and I wasn't standing too close to the can either. But the chrono was not willing to cooperate, but we were able to get the actual average down, so it will average about 320, that's what you should expect, and the rate of fire will be around 900 rounds per minute, which for a slide that is this big, I mean, this pistol is not small. My hands are not exactly the smallest hands in the world, but this pistol is just dang big. And that's a large amount of metal. That's a giant amount of metal. So for it to be shooting 900 rounds a minute like this, that's pretty impressive. And just so you guys can get a little idea of it, so this is at about 300 frames a second, slowed down on full auto. I'm just dry firing here, but it's a few seconds of full auto, 300 frames a second. Look how much recoil there is. And that was on the second magazine of CO2. That wasn't even on the first that wasn't even the first magazine of CO2. That was just right after what I was doing right here shooting the can. So this thing has a lot of recoil, fast rate of fire. Semi-automatic is completely controllable. Full auto it's a little less controllable, and I'll show it more in the accuracy test. But overall I'm pretty impressed. Can get about 2 magazines out of CO2. Shoots at 320 feet per second and 900 rounds a minute. That's definitely respectable. If you want a Desert Eagle, this is really the best one to get. It's the only one that's actually metal. So that's why I say that. I mean, if you want a metal kit, a garter kit, it costs you about $200. And that's on top of what you paid originally to get the Tokyo Marui Desert Eagle. So it's a lot of money. Whereas this one, it's about 150 bucks and you got a full metal Desert Eagle that works perfect and has full auto just for kicks, I guess. So again, 320 feet per second, 900 rounds a minute, definitely respectable. If you want to buy this gun, there's a link right below me to RDA's website. There's also a link below me to Red Dragon Airsoft's forum. So with that said, that has been RDA's chrono of the KWC Cybergun licensed CO2 semi and fully automatic Desert Eagle.